Hidden among some of the larger changes going on in the development business is the way that organizations are structuring their own recruiting departments. Traditionally, recruiting would fall under the HR department, under business development, or it would stand alone as its own department. Structures can also be broken down into centralized versus decentralized. A centralized structure would mean that recruiters are reporting to HR and are responsible for recruiting for all positions from proposals to home office. A decentralized structure, on the other hand, would mean that recruiters are responsible for recruiting under different business units throughout the organization. Today, organizations are switching things up, moving from one to the other. There is a case for each, although each also has their own pros and cons. So take human resources. One of the consequences of an HR model is that it can often slow down recruitment. One recruiter told me that there suddenly is this extra layer of reporting, maybe extra layer of data that HR needs, especially for proposal recruiters. This can be a problem when they're on a really tight deadline. An HR model can also switch the career trajectory that a recruiter may have had in mind. So often when people get into recruitment, they have more of a BD mindset. They're more interested in that side of things. So asking them then suddenly to move over to HR can be a shift in perhaps what they were wishing to do. Instead of asking a recruiter about a certain mission that they might know about or individuals that they might be familiar with in the field, from that to paychecks or what the bonuses are going to be that year. That can be a big change for a recruiter. But from a business perspective, it can often be easier to manage staff under that more centralized structure. And recruiters do gain an additional path, which is the path to HR, which means they might be more knowledgeable then about certain compliance issues, or maybe more familiar with labor laws in Ethiopia and things that under business development they probably wouldn't have known. So the case for a more business development house structure is that it's often a better way to tie recruitment in with revenue. And those recruiters tend to have a deeper network of people who are interested in working on the projects. One recruiter who has worked under both structures, but who recently moved from BD to HR, said that suddenly he's not familiar with the candidates until he's being passed paperwork in order to process that paperwork, which might be a con, considering that knowledge base can really help in a pinch on a proposal when recruiters are needing to find that person quickly. There are cons to the business development model too when it comes to communication, especially if recruitment is divvied up among teams. It can become a problem if there's not enough communication about who's recruiting who for what position. One recruiter gave the example that she actually tried to contact someone for a COP position for her firm who was already employed on another project for her own firm. So this tends to be one issue with a more decentralized or BD housed process, is that there is that lack of communication. No matter what, it's really important for recruiters to have interface with both HR and BD, so no matter the structure. It seemed that it came down to a need for better communication, or perhaps a system that includes both home office recruiting as well as those recruiting out in the field, so that those systems are communicating and no one is duplicating efforts. Recruitment remains about the same thing no matter where it's housed, which is about recruiting the best candidates for the project and about acting as an advocate for the firm during those first interactions. So look out for the full feature on HR versus BD recruitment models on Devex.com.